Our environment has mostly shaped the way our personality is today. Whatever we do today is the result of a long chain reaction of experiences and actions of the past. Here I will try to explain how influences reach to us and how can we deal with it to a certain extent. This video is a representation of my perspective on the topic. When we drop a stone in a still water, we will immediately see ripples produced around that stone and it keeps expanding. Likewise, if we assume our actions to be that stone, when that action happens, the ripples are inevitable. In other words, influences travel the same way a ripple does on a water body when a stone is dropped on it. So many actions and so many things happen around us every day, all of them produce certain ripples from them. Some ripples of influences reach us and we might not even notice them. Our religion, our name, our mentality, our beliefs are not, for the most part, chosen by us. It was imposed on us. Also, whatever we are exposed to repeatedly eventually leaves an effect on us. For example, the more we watch our favorite movie or a series, the more liking we develop for the characters and at times eventually might start to behave or aspire to be like them. There will always be ripples of the actions of the people around us, but it's on us how we want to interpret them. But first, let's look at two forms of influences to clear out our understanding and the framing of this concept. Whether an influence is positive or negative by your definition, irrespective of the nature of the influence, it has the tendency to travel the same way. It can be extreme and subtle. For example, a thief who steals from people will try to teach his son how stealing is justified by every means, so that his son will also carry out his work. Brainwashed or say influenced by his father and his work, he goes on to create a group of thieves and looters. So later on, he goes on to commit more serious crimes than his father. Since his childhood, it was imposed on him that stealing is justified by his dad, he will have built a strong foundation of beliefs around it. His father would read him stories of Robin Hood and justify how people deserve to be looted. Although this example seems to be a bit exaggerated, but it does deliver the logic, the message how a flawed belief of a person can influence a lot of people around him. Here is an example for a positive ripple. Once in my school, a classmate of mine spat on my shoe. I noticed it, and by his looks I understood that he didn't mean it, and he then apologized for it. I acted normal and I didn't mind it. I acknowledged his apology and he went. A friend of mine was watching all of this and he began wondering why I didn't become angry and react. Although it was a tiny small incident for me, but to him it was something that got stuck in his mind. Years passed by and one day we were sitting and speaking casually. He reminded me of this incident. At that point I hardly remembered what happened and said he was impressed by the attitude I exhibited back then. There was a sense of admiration in him for this attitude. And that day I wondered how subtle actions of a person can be something meaningful for the other. From this I began wondering how little things we do on a daily basis has potential ripples of influences produced around it. I wouldn't have known about the impact of my that attitude until my friend reminded me of it. This was the positive ripple from an action. Through these two examples, I tried to explain how influences can work in any direction. Now let's try to think of these ripples of influences objectively. Like I said, by your definition, positive or negative, the ripples of influences have the tendency to travel the same way. Have a look at social media trends that happen every other day. Regardless of the nature of the content, if it grabs the attention of the user, it climbs up its ladder of fame. Whether it's a dance move, a noble act, or a controversial thing, it does end up reaching to our screens of devices eventually. In short, social media, the internet, has amplified the ripples of influences caused by people's actions, which try to visualize each action as if it's producing waves and ripples of influences around it when it's happening. Like when you see someone picking up a piece of garbage and throwing it in the bin, you will feel a sense of humility and responsibility from that person. Having acknowledged that, the next time you pick up a piece of garbage and throw it in the bin, the image of that incident will flash into your mind, hence reinforcing what you do. Enough talking about other people, now let's bring the attention to you. What are you radiating? Most often, what are your actions telling about you? What value, what meaning is being signaled from your actions? From making your bed and being hygienic, such actions radiate values of responsibility and cleanliness from you. Even such little actions produce ripples. So ask yourself, what you want other people to feel from you, what you want other people to learn from you. What can they understand about you through your actions? From the incident in which my friend noticed me earlier in the video, you never know which actions of yours are being noticed and when they are being noticed. You never know if they could be inspired. If that is the case, why not radiate and give out the best ripples by improving ourselves and being a little bit more intentional and careful about our actions? In my case, through my videos and my work, I want to give out the ripples of influences of the values that I admire the most, which is encouraging a questioning mindset and a wondering thought, which may allow us to think beyond the limited boundary of this mind. This is my conscious attempt through my work. I started writing articles on my website a year ago in 2021 and later on branched into videos. The work I do online will potentially always be there. It will be seen and shared by so many people. My work shall still produce ripples of my work and the values I preach, even after my death. What is it that I am trying to convey here? The point of this video is to make you realize the potential consequences, the potential impact of your every action. So you will be a bit more mindful towards what you do. By being cautious and aware of your actions, only then you can begin to be better. By conceptualizing influences as ripples, I aimed to make you visualize the impact your actions could potentially make. When you fully understand this, you will take a step towards self-awareness. Now that you understand how ripples work, you can also produce a ripple by pleasing the algorithm, so that this video will reach to more and more people. Since you already produce ripples from your actions, become a better ripple and inspire the world around you through your actions, even in silence.